Welcome to Connex. Episode 2. Toyota. The company that refused to die the 1949 collapse. The layoffs, the tears, and the birth of the Toyota production system. In 1949, Toyota was days away from death. The company had no money. Factories were silent. Workers faced starvation. Then came the layoffs. The protesta, tears. Management broke. Workers broke. But in the ashes of a collapsing company, something extraordinary happened. A system was born that would later change the world. This is the story of how Toyota refused to die and instead rose to dominate the global automotive industry. Intro: Japan's darkest industrial moment. The year is 1949. Japan is struggling to breathe under the crushing weight of post-war chaos. Food is scarce. Factories are broken. Inflation is out of control. And Toyota, small, struggling car manufacturer in Aichi, is on the brink of collapse. What many people don't know is that Toyota's failure seemed inevitable. They weren't a giant yet. They were barely even a company. They couldn't pay salaries. They couldn't buy supplies. They couldn't keep the machines running. The American occupation forces demanded that Toyota meet strict production expectations, but Toyota simply couldn't. The company was drowning. The crisis that nearly destroyed Toyota by early 1949. Toyota had fallen into a financial hole so deep that banks refused to lend them money. Suppliers demanded cash up front. Thousands of workers waited for salaries that never came. Chairman Kiichiro Toyoda, the founder's son, faced a heartbreaking reality. Toyota had to lay off workers or die. But in Japanese culture, especially post-war layoffs, were viewed as betrayal. Workers trusted their company with their lives. They had nothing else. So when Toyota announced mass layoffs, the factory floor erupted. The protests, and the moment that broke the company workers, began a strike that shut Toyota down completely. Pickets circled the factory gates. Banners demanded justice. Some employees brought their children to the protests, showing the world they were fighting to keep food on their tables. Tension reached its breaking point. In July 1950, exhausted, heartbroken, defeated Kiichiro Toyoda resigned. His final words to his workers were devastating. "I take responsibility for failing you." It was one of the most emotional moments in Toyota's history. Many thought it was over. The turning point, a new kind of leader emerges. And stepped in Teiichi Ono, a quiet engineer with a radical vision. Ono believed Toyota didn't fail because it was weak. It failed because it was wasteful. Japanese factories had limited resources. They couldn't afford the massive warehouses, huge inventories, and inefficient processes of American automakers. So Ono proposed a simple but revolutionary idea. Asterisk. What if we produce cars only when needed? Not too early. Not too late. Just in time. Asterisk. This idea became the cornerstone of the Toyota production system. Birth of the Toyota production system, TPS, wasn't created in a boardroom. It was built on the factory floor. Ono walked through the plant with chalk in his hand. He drew boxers, circles, and lines on the ground to redesign the flow of production. He questioned everything. Why store weeks of parts? Why rely on big batch? Why hide defects instead of fixing them at the source? And then came another revolutionary principle. Asterisk, stop the line if something is wrong. Automation jidoka. Asterisk. This empowered even the lowest level worker to prevent defects from moving forward. It was unheard of. In America, stopping a production line was a sin. In Japan, it became Toyota's superpower. The rebuilding from broken company to industry legend between 1950 and 1960. Toyota slowly transformed. Waste was eliminated. Inventory was slashed. Quality skyrocketed. Costs dropped drastically. Workers became problem solvers, not machines. By the early 1960s, Toyota was no longer the company that almost died. It was the company that learned how to live smarter than everyone else. And by the 1980s, Toyota was beating American giants in their own backyard, Detroit. Motivational finish in every collapse. There is a breakthrough. In every failure, a seed of innovation. Toyota's story proves one truth. Greatness is not built in comfort. It is born when everything goes wrong. If Toyota could rise from bankruptcy, protests, and tears, then what's stopping you from rising today? Ending question plus call to action. If a nearly dead company could reinvent itself and change the world, what's stopping you from reinventing your life? Like, share, and subscribe for episode 3 of this documentary series. The world called it the Toyota miracle. But those inside Toyota knew it wasn't a miracle. It was the result of a company that refused to die and workers who refused to give up.